This is an exterior view of a lovely home built for George and Brenda Brincku in Southwest Florida. And here is the interior. Uninhabitable now because of the effects of defective drywall. By now, many of us have heard of problems created in homes built using Chinese drywall. We'll see these results firsthand in the Brincku's home, but with an interesting twist. The drywall isn't Chinese, but rather American.
A few months after we moved in, some abnormal things started happening.
We've had some unusual symptoms while living in the house. My husband has experienced respiratory problems. We've had coughing. We've had sinus problems, major migraines, and also in the afternoons, lethargic feeling. These are just some of the feelings that, and things that we've dealt with while living in the house.
Here is a copper wire inside a wall cavity, and you can see how it's turning black.
We started hearing things of problems with the Chinese drywall, and so we started looking for boards to see if we had the same problem.
Early on in our investigation, we initially found that we had no Chinese drywall inside our home. Looking at these pictures here, you can clearly see that we had nothing but National Gypsum and 10% of it USG.
The problems with our home worsened, and we were forced to move out of our home on March 14th, 2009.
Far more reaching effects of this drywall dilemma is that it's going to cause the real estate corporations, the banks, people who deal with the construction industry, just a multitudes of services and goods will be affected by this, because if this is not corrected, this will continue to fester, and as it festers, it will cause a downturn, more so than any other thing that's out there right now.
One of the reasons why we took on this campaign is to help individuals and families that are going through this, and to make other families aware of the problem throughout the country. It's already in 37 states, and it's growing every day.
At the end of the video, we will show you some more ways of looking for this defective drywall in your home.
Let's take a quick look at some of the conditions we've seen in our home.
Lifting this controller box off the floor, this is another example of the type of gas that's being released inside the home. On the underside, we noticed that the plastic was white. On the upper side, we also noticed that it was turning yellow. But also by pulling the switch back when it's in the on position, you can actually see the two different colors on the switch itself.
The victims of American and Chinese defective drywall have no means of getting out of these homes. A lot of the victims are still living in these homes, and they need help now.
The wires in my bathroom are turning black and scaling. The faucet in my bathroom is turning black.
One of the solutions we need to work on is let's get these homes fixed. Let's put America back to work.
And originally, when we had this sampled at the beginning, this was the area that MIT tested for the defective drywall. Here's another area of concern. Noticing the wall when it was pulled back from another test corporation, we noticed that we have some black oozing through the paper here, and we also had some black oozing through the paper inside the wall cavity.
We have been to Washington, D.C. We've talked to senators, congressmen. We've done all the correct things in trying to get help for the victims of American and Chinese defective drywall, but we have been unsuccessful. The only people that have helped us right now is the tax appraisers. Ken Wilkerson in Lee County has helped us with our property taxes, but the victims need help from FEMA and for Governor Chris to declare this an emergency with the President of the United States.
After looking further and dropping this speaker system from the attic, you can see here that the red and black wires are turning black, and as a result you can see the gassing even taking an effect up here.
A lot of the government and agencies and federal agencies think that we can go to HUD, community block grants, for help, but the money is simply not there. That money is supposed to be used for women that have domestic violence or maybe homeless or other problems or situations people need help with their homes. There's not enough money to fix these homes, and we don't feel right in taking that money from other people that need it.
Well, one thing we've noticed when we were pulling apart some of the walls is we noticed the two different product dates on the wallboard. Here we have 4/15/04, and up here we have 2/21/04. And what's interesting about this is that the color backing on this material is a different color than the color backing on this material down here.
A lot of the victims that are suffering through this problem have had problems with their credit rating because they've had to move out and couldn't afford a mortgage payment and rent payment, and now it's gone on their credit. Their credit has gone down. This is a problem that needs to be addressed. Banks need to work with these homeowners. It's not their fault that this problem happened. So we need the banks to step in and work with the homeowners. Let's get this problem resolved.
And this is another thing you need to be looking for. The copper tubing on the air conditioning coils is so black and so corroded, you can actually see the scaling and the pitting along the copper tubing of this unit that was taken out of our home to replace with another unit.
If this problem was to happen in Homeland Security or any federal office, we know that they would automatically be evacuated and this matter would be taken care of right away.
I'm asking the president and the governor to help kids and animals with defective drywall.
I get hundreds and hundreds of emails every day from people all across America. There's people from South Dakota, there's people from California and Virginia, Louisiana that are dealing with this problem, and they need the government to help them. A lot of these families can't afford mortgages and rent, and they have made the decision to leave their homes, and now they're facing the consequences on something that was not even their fault to begin with. We need the government to help out with these families before they end up going into foreclosure or bankruptcy.